Hello friends, welcome to Tarun IAS. Today we will be discussing editorial from the Hindu newspaper of 5th of December 2022. So before we start with the editorial, the most important reason for which I have taken this editorial is that 5th of December is celebrated as the World Soil Day. So therefore our editorial will be about soil management, and the title of the editorial is Poor Soil Management Will Erode Food Security. That means the soil is linked with the food and food security. You can connect it with you can relate this article with your General Studies paper 1 and General Studies paper 3, that is Physical Geography of paper 1 and Environmental Conservation in paper 3. In General Studies paper 3. So this is the article which I have taken from the Hindu. It has been written by Konda Reddy Chava, who is officer in charge of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations representation in India. So let us see what the writer has to say. Now if we talk about the recent context, then World Soil Day, which is annually observed on 5th of December, aligns itself with its guiding theme, that is soil where food begins. So food security in the context of the global warming and the climate change becomes of utmost importance when we speak of the soil and when we consider the statistics that give evidence of the soil degradation. So if we consider the report by the Environment Ministry that was released in the year 2019, which has given the statistics that 30% of the land. So the State of the Environment report gives the statistics that approximately 30% of the land is under degradation. So therefore, soil is important when it comes to maintaining the healthy soil, the ecosystem, and it also becomes important when we want to ensure the well-being of the human beings and the growing challenges with respect to the soil management, encouraging the societies to improve the soil health and advocate the sustainable management of the soil. You can relate it with the sustainable development goals that the world has to achieve by the year 2013, which is life on land. Sustainable development goal number 14. Right, life on land. So let us talk about the recent context. See, healthy soil is essential for the survival of not only the human beings but also the animal. The whole ecology and the ecosystem is dependent upon the healthy soil. So healthy plants from which we are going to derive the nutrition, and the plants which are going to maintain the groundwater levels, they are dependent upon the healthy soil conditions. Apart from these things, another important point that the writer raises is that the soil basically it acts as the carbon sink, and it is the second largest carbon sink after the oceans. So soil, which acts as a carbon sink and which also acts as an important driver for the plantation and for the forest on earth, it also helps maintaining the landscape to be more resilient to the impacts of the drought, flood, etc., etc. So basically soil is not just the component of the ecosystem, rather soil itself is an ecosystem, and it is not going to be surprising that if we connect the soil health is critical for the food production. So healthy soil is related with the food production. Apart from soil being the major link between human being and ecosystem, it is also one important limiting factor when we speak of the food security or the production of the food. So, however, when I spoke of the State of Environment report that was released in the year 2019, we saw that approximately 30% of the India's land is under degradation. It is under degradation. Now, we have to notice that this degradation of land has major consequences. And what are those major consequences? The first that the writer points towards is the nutrient loss. The soil pollution, that means the presence of the unwanted contaminants in the soil that decreases its productivity, that decreases its replenishment and the rejuvenation power, that also decreases its fertility, poses or threatens the soil, undermining the nutrition and the food security globally. The main drivers that contribute to the soil degradation is the industrial activities, the waste management, for example, the landfill sites. Landfill sites. We discussed the solid waste management, one editorial on solid waste management few days back. You can try and link that editorial with the today's editorial, that how landfill sites, they poses the challenge of soil pollution, and a polluted soil has no productivity, no nutrient to recharge or help the plants grow. So therefore it threatens the food security. So industrial activities, the waste treatment, for example, the landfill sites. Delhi has three major landfill sites, that is the Ghazipur, Bhalaswa and Okhla. The agriculture, fossil fuel extraction. Agriculture is there. Excessive use of the fertilizers poses challenge to the soil degradation, poses challenge to the soil fertility and its productivity, its potential to rejuvenate itself, replenish its nutrients, etc., etc. The fossil fuel extraction also poses a challenge, the processing and the transport emission. So these are some of the major drivers that are contributing to the soil degradation. Now, if I am to define soil degradation after analyzing and after describing everything that is given in the article, then the most simplest, easy to understand definition of soil degradation would be that soil degradation implies decrease in the productivity and the potential decrease in the productivity, fertility and the potential of the soil to rejuvenate itself, where it cannot anymore support the ecosystem or ecology or the biotic factors. So thus it decrease in the nutrients. So this is how you are going to define soil degradation. So we discussed the major drivers that contribute to the soil degradation, right? Now we are discussing that what are other reasons behind the decreasing soil nutrients. The largest loss of soil nutrients comes from soil erosion. So in your physical geography, you will be studying what soil erosion is. Basically, soil erosion means the removal of the top layer of the soil. So if we look at the soil profile, then we have A, B, C, D, E like this. So we have parent rock, then we have gravels, then on the top we have got the humus. So humus is a brownish to black color organic matter. This consists of the organisms, it consists of the undigested organic and inorganic matters which are in the process of degradation or decomposition. No, not the soil degradation, but the inorganic and organic compounds are to be decomposed. The technical word that I should be appropriately using is the decomposition. So those which have been partially decomposed forms the humus, the top layer. So erosion implies the removal of this top layer, and soil erosions are of many types. For example, we have reeks, we have gully erosions, sheet erosions, etc., etc. So soil erosion is the major cause of soil degradation. The leaching and the burning of the crop residues is also another reason that affects around 29% of the India's total area. Now this data actually has been taken from the State of Environment report 2019 that was released by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Is that clear? Now the soil degradation in turn threatens the agricultural productivity, the in situ biodiversity conservation, the water quality and the socio-economic well-being of the land dependent communities. So basically farmers, peasants, tillers, etc., etc., the tenants, all those who are directly or indirectly dependent upon the land, their livelihood, their income is threatened. So when we have soil degradation, decrease in the soil fertility, we in turn have the reduced productivity, reduced agricultural productivity of the land, and this in turn will threaten the food security globally. If we look at the profile of India, then India does export wheat, rice. We even provide humanitarian assistance when it comes to the food under the World Food Programme to the least developed countries and the countries who are suffering from the civil war, the countries who are under the conflict, etc. For example, Afghanistan. So it just does not only about India, but it is also about the global food security. So this is how you are going to link your topic with several subtopics or topics that are given in the syllabus. So according to the writer, the depletion of the soil organic matter means the nutrient loss in the soil. It approximately covers 3.7 million hectares of the land. Further, the excessive use of the fertilizers, the pesticides, irrigation with the contaminated wastewater, they are also polluting soils. The impact of soil degradation are far-reaching and they are irreparable in terms of the consequences on human and ecosystem health. Now, let us come to the India's conservation strategy, that how India is employing its strategy, or what are the various measures that India has adopted to conserve the soil. The government of India is implementing a 5-pronged strategy for soil conservation. The first one is the chemical-free soil. The second one is the saving soil biodiversity. The third is the enhancing soil organic matter, maintaining the soil moisture, mitigating soil degradation. In this you can relate with land neutrality, the land degradation neutrality, and preventing soil erosion. Now, if you look at these measures, these wide measures, then you can bring them down to just one word, and that is agroforestry and afforestation. So basically, plants and forest, they are so important. The health of soil is linked with the forest. So forests are going to save the soil biodiversity because they hold the soil and they prevent the soil erosion. They will be helpful in mitigating the soil degradation because of the many useful bacteria that lives around the roots of the plant. It also is going to maintain the soil moisture by recharging or rejuvenating the aquifers, the underground aquifers in the forest land. And also the afforestation would make the soil chemical free. That means less and less chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. would be needed to maintain the forest. So what India has done so far? Basically, when we talk about the agriculture, then Indian farmers, they lacked information with respect to the soil nutrient deficiency. What are the different strategies they can employ without using pesticides and harmful insecticides that will enhance the land crop productivity, that would enhance the land productivity and generate higher income. In order to address this issue in the year 2015, the government of India had launched the Soil Health Card Scheme. So basically, Soil Health Card Scheme is about giving information with respect to their land to the farmers, that how much nutrient is there, what is the amount of nutrient or fertilizer a farmer would require in order to help the soil rejuvenate and replenish the nutrients present there. So Soil Health Card would basically means testing the soil on certain parameters and giving that information to the farmer so that the farmer can apply the information, can have a knowledge based application of the fertilizers and not excessive fertilizers which results into the soil degradation. So Soil Health Card basically assesses the current status of the soil health. It determines the changes that a soil undergoes. It displays the soil health indicators and associated, and it also guides the farmers to make necessary soil amendments or necessary changes which are required in his or her strategy in order to enhance the crop productivity or crop yield. The other initiatives which the government of India has taken is the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, regeneration of the natural vegetation, rainwater harvesting, recharging the groundwater table, National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, which employs organic farming and natural farming, for example, zero budget organic farming, natural farming, zero budget natural farming. Decreasing the monetary burden on small farmers, for example, by providing the nutrient based subsidy. And there is one more scheme that we have is apart from the soil health card scheme, the neem coated urea, and also another nano urea by IFCO, so that less quantity of fertilizer is utilized, but it yields more crop yield. So Food and Agriculture Organization has also taken multiple activities to support the efforts of the government towards soil conservation and fostering to sustainable agri-food system. So it has collaborated with the National Rainfed Area Authority, which works under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, in order to develop a better forecasting tool using the data analytics so as to have the vulnerable farmers make informed decisions when it comes to their choice of crops, especially in the rain-fed areas. Apart from this, the government is also promoting the millets. So this is the bond challenge which India has taken, and India is going to bring land under restoration, and the target is to have restoration of degraded and deforested land by 2030. The land under degradation is 96.4 million hectares, which is approximately 29.3% of India's total geographical area. This is India's total geographical area, and this much is land under the degradation. And as per the bond challenge, India's new target that was amended is to have 26 million hectares of the land to be restored by 2030. And the solutions which the government is going to widely employ are afforestation, the water resource management, and the sustainable agriculture practices. So with this, I hope, so let us now talk about that how the Food and Agriculture Organization is working in association with the Ministry with Rural Development so as to support the community who are directly dependent upon the land, because land or soil is basically a resource. So it is going to, the FA is going to, in association with the MRD, is going to support the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, the National Rural Livelihood Mission, so as to enhance the capacity towards the support on-farm livelihood, adoption of the sustainable and resilient practices, organic certification of the land under organic farmer, and agri-nutri gardens. FAA basically is working with 8 target states, which are Madhya Pradesh, Mizoram, Odisha, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh, Haryana and Punjab, so as to boost the crop diversification, which is also going to be a solution towards the climate resilient sustainable agriculture. It is going to employ the landscape level planning. In Andhra Pradesh, the FAO, it partnered with the state government and the ICAR, that is Indian Council of Agriculture Research, so as to support the farmers to adopt the best sustainable practices in order to transit from the current approach to the sustainable ecological approaches and the organic farmers. So these are some of the examples that can be given in the exam. So the writer wants to say basically there is a need to strengthen the communication challenge between the academia, policy makers and the society. So it is talking about a link between these three entities that forms the whole ecosystem of the food security or the food supply chain. So identification and maintenance and restoration of the degraded soil should be, as well as in the adoption of the anticipatory measures, there should be a link between the academia, policymaker and the society, because this is going to facilitate the dissemination of the timely and the evidence-based information decision making, and all the relevant stakeholders shall be involved. So the greater cooperation and partnership will ensure the availability of the knowledge. It is going to share the successful practices, and it is going to have an access to the universal clean and sustainable technology, so that no one is left behind when it comes to having the food security. So as consumers and citizens, we can contribute. What we can do from our side is by planting trees in order to protect the topsoil, develop and maintain the home or kitchen garden. We shall consume the locally available food, or we shall consume the food which is adapted to the local ecology, or which is in accordance with the local environment, rather than importing the exotic food varieties which may later on becomes invasive. So rather than, we should rely on the locally sourced food and the seasonal fruit. So I hope you've understood this article on soil management and how we can tackle the soil degradation. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching Tarun IAS. And if you want to download the PDF of this session, you can go to the Telegram channel. Link will be given in the description below. Have a nice day.